Welcome everybody to the second episode of the WoW Wrestling Podcast. Today is November 13th, 2015. Also, it's Friday the 13th, so watch your backs. SmackDown yesterday was so awesome because of one person, and his name is Kalisto. Kalisto impressed the hell out of me, and I'm thankful for WWE Creative to allow Kalisto to be as far as he, because I thought Kalisto was going to be eliminated right there, right off the bat, against Ryback. But WWE had plans otherwise. I will talk about the match between Kalisto and Ryback later on in the show. But I'm just going to give a quick rundown of what's going on and what I'm going to talk about today. First off, we'll start off with the SmackDown review. We're going to start off with news featuring The Undertaker, former WWE Diva Caitlyn, NXT stuff, and then other stuff like the mechanics. I got a rant about the mechanics. What else am I talking about? Oh, SmackDown moving to USA Network in January. What else was I going to tell you about? I don't know. Let's just start the show. Alright. Wyatt family start off the night. Luke Harper has the mic first. And Luke Harper, when he's talking, he sounded like a normal human being. It's crazy. They actually can talk like normal civilized people. And not savages. So Luke Harper talks about how he's... well, technically they all have their own spiel about the Brothers of Destruction and how their strength or their whatever is superior. I mean, Luke Harper's good. He's a good wrestler. He impresses me a lot when he does, super kicks. When he did a Hurricane Rana that one time, when he suicide dives, he impresses the hell out of me. But nothing worthwhile, and then Eric Rowan grabs the mic. He sounds like a normal human being, which doesn't go with their character, which I also thought about, but it's WWE. And when Braun Strowman grabs the mic, I don't see him as a Wyatt family member. I just see him as, a pretender. And what I mean by pretender is, if anybody notices, he exaggerates, mean, low voice. Very scratchy, mean, low voice. He's trying too much to sound like a big threat. I don't like that out of Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman should just stick with his regular voice, if not talk at all, because I don't prefer them talking. I only prefer Bray talking, because when he talks, things actually make sense sometimes. So they talk about how they're the faces of whatever, and the face of whatever, and the face of whatever, and then Bray Wyatt grabs the mic, and everything just starts calming down, because I don't like them talking. So Bray Wyatt grabs the mic, which I'm thankful for, and then he gets midway, and then he talks about Survivor Series, and he says, by the end of the night, I want the Brothers of Destruction, he issues a challenge to the Brothers of Destruction for Survivor Series. And he says it's the Brothers of Destruction against any two members of the Wyatt family. And we both know, or whoever listens to this, who is going to be. Because you don't want to see Brothers of Destruction fighting Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. No, that would be a snooze fest. It's going to be Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Unless, and I'm thinking way outside the box here, there's another Wyatt family member. So there's 5 of them. Now, that's only me talking because I have very an imaginative mind. Because on Tuesday, I talked about the tournament and how things are going to go down. If I must repeat myself, I will. It's going to come down to Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. They're going to have a wonderful match. Roman Reigns turns on Dean. Roman goes to the Authority. Seth Rollins comes back. Seth Rollins turns face, and yada, yada, yada. I really What was I talking about? I forgot what I was talking about. Alright. No, wait. Yeah, it's gonna be Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. And to me, that's gonna be a good match because one, Undertaker and Kane's gonna win because they can't have Undertaker lose 3 matches in a row, especially if it's against Brock Lesnar. And plus, he's facing Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, who's Braun Strowman just got here, so you know it's gonna lose. Bray Wyatt can't win a match for his life against any well-known people. Look at John Cena. I mean, the only reason why that match was actually that match wasn't even good. The only thing good about that was the video package that was shown before that match. But anyway, they're gonna have Kane and the Undertaker win that match because Undertaker hasn't won a match in forever, and he needs to redeem himself because you look at the part where Undertaker taps. I think that was SummerSlam. I forget. I have a memory the size of an ant. So yeah, that's how it's gonna go down. Also at Survivor Series, it's gonna be Charlotte and Paige. I just wanted to bring that up a little bit. It's gonna be Charlotte and Paige. I'm going on Saturday the 21st. I'm having a prediction show featuring maybe Roman Apples, my co-host that was on Tuesday. I have to see what he says about that. I really hope he joins me in that. But let's continue with tournament stuff. No, actually, before that, Braun Strowman had a match. And it was against Fandango. Or, Fandango. But he doesn't like to do that anymore. He just dances. He does Fandangoing every time when he comes in the ring. And I haven't seen Fandango in a long time on either Raw or SmackDown. So I was very surprised to see him. Well, very happy to see him because that Johnny Curtis thing. Boy, that was a wreck when he was doing all those corny jokes. But Fandango looked good, taking bumps and stuff. But Braun Strowman showed the people his power, I guess, to say that he's very strong and how he's going to destroy the Brothers of Destruction with that power because, like he said on Monday, he's the new face of destruction, which is complete bullshit. You just been here for like, I don't know, how many months? Like 2 or 3? You need to calm yourself down before you call yourself the face of anything. You can call your face anything you want, but just not now, because you haven't proved yourself yet, because this was your first match on SmackDown. You haven't even had like 5 singles matches. Calm the fuck down. Alright, I am composed. Tournament matches. Let's have that right quick. We had Neville versus King Barrett, which was a good match. Neville eventually won, but there were so many times during that match where I felt Neville was actually seriously hurt. Like, there was a part where Neville was hung up on the top rope, and Wade Barrett grabbed him by the hair and just pulled him down, and it looked like he hit his neck on the floor. And he was covering his neck, which I thought he was injured. And he was shaking his leg to see if he had any feeling, and he did, but I think that was a really good sell. So I got myself fooled. The 100% all the way wrestling fan got fooled by a bump, which I thought was real. But I'm glad Neville's okay. There was a couple of times where I was like, like heart stopped when Neville looked like he got injured. I hope he's fine. I haven't read anything that said he wasn't, but I hope he's okay. So Neville moves on. He faces Kevin Owens, which that's going to end Neville right away. I'm glad that WWE Creative gave Neville an opportunity because they haven't been seen to give him anything creativity-wise or storyline-wise because they don't know what to do with him. I mean, they gave him a match against Stardust, which I admit was pretty cool. And plus, they had Stephen Amell in there, which I thought was even cooler. But that was probably the only cool thing that I've seen Neville do since NXT. because they have so many people in the WWE right now. They don't know who they want to give the opportunities for or who, or basically that. They don't know who to give the rivalries to, the titles to. It's just very confused. And Neville, I really am sorry for Neville because he's suffering from that. And I know a lot of people suffer from it, but I just hate to see Neville be the victim in this, because he is a good wrestler. He's a very good high flyer. I watched him when he was Pac, and he's a really good wrestler. Also, interview with the Usos with Renee Young, which I'm not going to talk about. I just felt like putting it there because it seemed relevant. It was a part of the show. So now we have the match of the night, in my opinion. If you've seen SmackDown, if you have not seen SmackDown or this match, I advise you to skip to Kalisto versus Ryback if you're watching the whole thing on the network. Kalisto versus Ryback was the most weirdest yet flattering match I've ever seen, because they actually gave Kalisto a push. I mean, it's not going to last long because Kalisto's match on Monday Night Raw is against Alberto Del Rio. And you know Alberto Del Rio is going to face Roman Reigns. I don't know when. I think next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. Because he won't. Or SmackDown, because even though Roman Reigns versus Alberto doesn't seem like a SmackDown match to me, Kalisto did some stuff that I thought was really cool. And that is probably what you'll hear from almost everybody that you talk to, but not from me. Kalisto, towards probably like a minute into the match, Kalisto gave him a Salida del Sol. I guess that's what it's called. I'm guessing. It's probably because of pronouncing it wrong. But whatever. He gave him a Salida del Sol a minute into the match. It already got a 2 count, right? And then, even before the match, they had respect. Like, they shook hands before the match started, and they looked at each other like, alright, they respect each other, we got this. But there came a time when Kalisto was on the top rope because Ryback put him there. Ryback was, I think, going for an avalanche German suplex. I think that was what he was going to do. And then Kalisto, out of nowhere, hits him with a Salida del Sol from the top. And I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. I have never, ever seen Kalisto do that. And I'm glad that I saw it, because that gave me a whole new look at Kalisto and see what he can do. Because Kalisto, he's fairly new. And I like Kalisto. Not Kalisto and Sin Cara, but just Kalisto. Because Sin Cara can't... I mean, he's doing better. Like, the more recent matches that he had, like that was about a week ago, it sucked. Like, he botches everything. Even that match against the Ascension, that one against... No, not just... It was Ascension and Cody Rhodes, Cosmic Wasteland. He went to go for a high-flying move, and he tripped on the rope. He tripped on the rope. I understand that those ropes can get difficult sometimes. I've seen Justin Gabriel get caught up on it on a WrestleMania preview. Now, what do they call it? A pre-show. The pre-show for WrestleMania 2 years ago. But Sin Cara does it constantly. If the original Sin Cara was here, he would have no problem. The one taking over Sin Cara is Unico. And Unico, when he was Unico, and not Sin Cara, the only thing high-flying was he would go off the ropes into a senton. He can do a high-flying swanton. That was about it that I can remember, because when he was Unico, it's been a while. And I don't tend to watch Unico matches because he's not really in my sights. But as Sin Cara, he botches everything with the character. But going back to Kalisto, it was an impressive match, and he got the win against Ryback, which at the end it looked like Ryback was supposed to kick out, but he forgot. I'm not sure if it was planned out, but Kalisto got the win. Kalisto got a push somewhat, and I'm happy because you don't usually give someone a push like that, especially in a WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament like this. But it's going to be sad for Kalisto and Neville because they have to go against two of the more higher percentage winners, Alberto Del Rio and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens facing Neville and Alberto Del Rio facing Kalisto. It's going to be sad because you know that they tried, but creative just doesn't want Neville or Kalisto anywhere near the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Moving on, Alberto Del Rio versus Stardust. Now, I don't know what to say about that, except, what is with that diving double stomp? Why would they ban the curb stomp from Seth Rollins, the punt kick from Randy Orton, and not ban this? If you know what I'm talking about, basically the opponent is in Tree of Woe. That's when you hang down from the top rope to the floor, when your legs are caught on the top rope. Basically, the opponent has to do is grab the two ropes and pull himself up long enough for, say, Alberto Del Rio does a diving foot stomp. Now, say something goes wrong and you don't take your feet off of the mat or put your feet on the mat and have your 2 feet landing on his chest. That could be a big injury. So I feel like he doesn't need to use that move because he's more famous for his cross arm breaker. I'd rather see him use that than having him to do that move and injuring more people than there already is. Because you have Randy Orton out, you have Daniel Bryan out, John Cena took a vacation, Seth Rollins is out, Neville could be potentially out because if you saw Neville, his legs were hanging from the top rope. Wade Barrett with his having 2 hands full of hair and pushing him down, landing on his neck, and then you see Neville on the outside, checking if he can still have feeling in his leg. I hope he's okay because Neville's a good performer. But that move that Del Rio does, the diving double foot stomp, that has to go because Finn Balor, if you guys have not already heard, Finn Balor is working Raw and SmackDown tapings after Survivor Series. So that means that Samoa Joe is going to be your new NXT champion. Now, let's get to the main event. The Usos versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Even before the match started, they were brawling. And I like that because it shows the crowd that there is still tension, because when before the Usos, or one Uso or whoever, they were taking a break, they had some high heat against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, I guess when it was for the tag titles, I'm guessing, because I like I said, I have the memory the size of an ant. I can't remember long term, but I can remember short term. So it was a good match. And then after that, I mean, they didn't even win. There was no winner. It was called a disqualification on the side of the Usos. The Usos won by disqualification. And then Undertaker, I'll get to that, but Bray Wyatt hit one of the Usos, I can't tell them apart, with Sister Abigail. Probably both of them, I think. And you just hear the Undertaker's boom out of nowhere, and then you hear Undertaker's voice, and he accepts the challenge at Survivor Series. So we will see the Brothers of Destruction facing two members of the Wyatt family, which we all know it is. It's going to be Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. So that was an interesting SmackDown. Probably one of the most exciting SmackDowns, but only because of Kalisto. Only because of Kalisto. I guess we'll move on to news, if I don't have anything else to talk about. No, I don't. Alright, let's move on to news. Alright. Undertaker's been in the WWE for 25 years. That is a long time to put up with WWE. The most dedicated man, probably in wrestling history, alongside John Cena, who I hate to admit. He definitely made WWE fun when he was wrestling on a regular basis, and not just WrestleManias. I was on a website, and they released some fun facts about The Undertaker, which I thought was pretty cool. One of which, Undertaker won the WWE title after 370 days after his debut. Now, in WWE terms, that's not a long time. Even though there's some people, like Sheamus, won it an astounding short period of time. Or like Paige, who won it on her first day, when I'm talking about the Divas Championship. But at that time, Undertaker had probably the shortest amount of days to win the title. If I'm wrong, I think I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I want someone to correct me so I can look into this, because this stuff is interesting to me. When Undertaker debuted with the $1 Million Man, I never got to see that. I was born in 99, so I never got to see the good stuff when they started turning into PG, making things family friendly, and having Brodus Clay dance, and all that is boring. I'd rather watch Attitude Era non-stop, when it was Ken Shamrock, when it was the Big Boss Man, may he rest in peace, the New Age Outlaws, the Dudley Boys, even though they're still here, but the Dudley Boys, American Badass was alright. I watched videos of that, and I thought that was cool, but right now, looking back at it, and having him switch characters between a biker and a dead man, I think that was a pretty awful choice. Then you had others like Triple H and The Rock and Stone Cold. I wish I was growing up at that time. Too bad. WWE made Undertaker's urn get stolen 7 times in his career. Now, I understand that it's a part of him. I think that's his father in that urn? I'm not sure. But, out of the top of my head, I can think of Mankind, Edge, Bray Wyatt. That's probably it. I can't think of anything else. Let me know in the comments, because I know I'm not going to remember. Trying to look up this stuff, because it's a Friday. I got stuff to do on Friday, and I don't feel like looking at wrestling. I'd rather hang out with my friends. But this podcast is more important to me than friends, because I'm giving you basic information. Third is Undertaker never walked into WrestleMania as world champion. To me, that's not really a big deal. I know he won 3 championships from WrestleMania, but probably the reason why he never walked in WrestleMania as a champion is probably because you already know that he's going to keep the title, because it's WrestleMania. He's got a streak going. They're not going to make him lose the title and the streak. That would be wrong. And probably most of you would agree. Probably most of you won't. But the more logical reason is what I just said, if you think about it. His longest match was against Triple H at WrestleMania 28, and that was the one where it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels was the special guest referee, and he almost screwed The Undertaker over because he hit him with the sweet chin music and then a pedigree. That was 30 minutes and 52 seconds. Now, I went to WrestleMania before, when it was at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I hate when they say New York, New Jersey. It's New Jersey. when he was facing CM Punk. To me, I thought that was just a little bit longer. But then again, when you're watching it live, it tends to seem longer than it is, if that makes sense. In my case, it seems to make sense. But that match with Triple H, I think that was the end of the era match. It could have been the one before that, but I think it was the end of the era. And then his shortest match was against the Iron Sheik with 18 seconds. Now, I never saw that match before. I hope, Rum, if you're watching this, you help me find that match, because like I said before, I don't have time to look up stuff on Fridays. I got people to see. So if you can help me out with that, Rum, that would be appreciated. Undertaker is the only active wrestler to compete on the first episode of Monday Night Raw, which I think is awesome. Because I remember watching the first episode of Monday Night Raw not too long ago. It was probably like 2 months ago. I remember Koko Beware going up against Yokozuna, the Steiner brothers going against the Executioners, and then you got the Undertaker, and then you got of course Bobby Heenan trying to get in the goddamn arena. But at that time, it was probably funny, but right now, it's like, looking at today's WWE and back then, it's just, But Undertaker faced a guy, and his name was Damien Demento, who looked crazed as all hell. And Undertaker beat Damien Demento, of course, because it's the Undertaker. I don't know how far apart the Monday Night Raw match and his debut were. That I will find out, because it only takes 2 seconds. But that was interesting. And then there were other effects on there, but I only put the things on the template. The only interesting ones. The other ones that I think I couldn't relate to. Now, the picture that some of you dirty people might be looking at, that is Caitlyn. Now, if we all remember Caitlyn, she is from NXT Season 3. She was in a rivalry with AJ, her best friend, and let me tell you, she let out a workout video, which I watched, of course, for educational reasons, wink wink. She looks really damn good. Not like beauty-wise, but like physically, she looks, wow. I haven't seen her look as good in a long time. Forever. I mean, good job on her part. She really did good shit with herself. I really hope she's still wrestling and not being like a permanent workout person or a model, because even though I wasn't really a fan of her work, I really want to see her wrestle, because I haven't seen her in a long time, especially the way she looks now. God damn. Alright, I need to stop drooling, because if I'm gonna want her on this show, I don't want to see this video of this podcast and know that I'm like a dog or something. So I'm just gonna calm down, and let's get on to something else that I found interesting. It was because when I read this article, it was probably announced before I saw this. New NXT DVD called WWE's NXT's Greatest Matches Volume 1. When I read the list at the bottom, it says there were more matches to be announced, and there was a match on there that I was surprised was not announced yet, but I will get to that later. It documents one of NXT's greatest matches until it started becoming its own show, instead of like the ones that we saw where Wade Barrett was on and Daniel Bryan was on and Darren Young was on as a competition show. So here is some matches. Big E versus Seth Rollins for the NXT title. That was when Big E became the champion. I didn't see that match. I don't have Hulu. If I did, I would look at it. Sami Zayn versus Neville. Did I watch that? I don't think I watched that. And it was Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. That was when Finn Balor won the title in Japan at the Beast in the East. And then you have probably the best Divas match you will ever see in this era. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Damn, that match was too good. I remember watching that and just pondering, why don't they have these two people on the main roster? Because at the time, Sasha Banks wasn't officially on the roster yet. And that was also the day that Bayley won it. And congrats to Bayley, even though it's... I don't think I wrote the date on the template. She really deserves it, man. She's been in the NXT system for so long. And she deserves it. Even though Sasha Banks was clearly a better champion than Bayley will ever be. Bayley surprised me during that match. Then you have another Sasha Banks match, which I don't think I saw. Is Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Maybe I did see that. I think I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. For the women's title. And this is a Blu-ray exclusive, so I'm guessing if you buy the DVD version, look at me, I'm sounding dumb. I know if you buy the DVD, you won't get Sasha Banks or Charlotte, or the next match, I'm going to say. Yeah, Sasha Banks or Charlotte, and Tyler Breeze versus Apollo Crews was... Let's see, Uwan Nation. Uwan Nation was a good indie wrestler, and I'm happy that he's now Apollo Crews, and he's in NXT / WWE. Because he's a very talented wrestler, and so is Tyler Breeze. But Tyler Breeze can get very annoying in the ring, and I just want a clean, straight match without any persona coming during the match. I am very weird when it comes to that, but when it's Tyler Breeze, it gets annoying. Apollo Crews just makes me happy. And I know that sounds weird, but he makes me happy when I watch him in the ring because it impresses me like most of the NXT superstars. Like Baron Corbin and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. And now they have James Storm, who's working at a contract with WWE. It's going to be a good NXT. They're producing some of the most best matches, and it's not even on the main roster. And that's sad because when we get to the major league level, you know it's gonna change. Their persona's gonna change. Their whole gimmick's gonna change. When Finn Balor gets called up, and he will, because I forget if I already talked about this already, but he's working shows after Survivor Series for Raw and SmackDown. I'm happy that he's moving up. He deserves to move up because he's a good wrestler. But when he's gone, he's probably going to get a new gimmick. But I'm not saying that he is. But, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm talking about it, he probably won't. Because he's got his demon thing, which he's well known for. And then he also got his regular self. And, I regret saying that. So yeah, it's set to come out on March 7th of next year. On DVD and Blu-ray. I advise getting the Blu-ray. Or both, if they have exclusive matches for both. I really advise it. Because who doesn't want to watch... Excuse me. Who doesn't want to watch NXT? Now, Seth Rollins' surgery. Seth Rollins went into surgery on Wednesday, and it was a success, but we still have to wait 6 to 9 months for him to come back. There was a video, a very graphic video, I might add, showing surgeries and open knees and ugh. Rollins explained what happened. He was facing Kane. I don't know if he talked to where Oh, Dublin. I forgot. I'm dumb. He's tried to go for Sunset Flower... I almost said Flower Bomb. Yes, Seth Rollins is a pansy. He went for a Sunset Flip Power Bomb, and he landed wrong. And he explained in the video that he doesn't usually make mistakes like that, but I will let him off because everybody makes mistakes. And everybody has those days. And probably everybody knows what I'm talking about because everybody gets that way. He also said that he, like I said, and I'm basically repeating myself because I'm reading the template. So yeah, I'm going to miss Seth Rollins because he's a good performer but a terrible champion, as me and Roman Apples explained on Tuesday. SmackDown moving to USA Network. I am happy about that because I hate going to Sci-Fi. The only time I went to Sci-Fi was for ECW, and ECW I'd never considered a WWE brand. So SmackDown is moving to USA. It's going to be hard because on Thursdays I'm going to think that it's going to be on Sci-Fi. It's going to be really, really, really annoying. It was announced back in April that they were moving to USA. I never saw that, so I'm late to the party. And it's supposed to debut on January 7th, 2016. I hope I got that right on the template. That is Thursday, the 7th. Yes, it's the first Thursday of the month. And it's not that big of news. I read some stuff that I didn't put on the template that I will talk about and read after I'm done with this news. The Mechanics. Yes, the two jobbers, who started off as jobbers, won the NXT Tag Team titles against the Vaudevillains. It's like Blake and Murphy all over again. That's about as much as I can explain to myself. That it's just like Blake and Murphy. Even though the Mechanics, I've heard great things about them. I didn't watch the match. I'm only just talking about it. Because when I saw, I'm guessing Scott Dawson is the one with the bandana on if you see the picture. He's the one that faced, I think he faced Mason Ryan. And he destroyed the shit out of him. And I've never seen Dash Wilder before. So, that just goes to show how much I pay attention to jobbers. Barely any. But apparently, the jobber tag team, the Mechanics, who I've heard have an awesome tag team finisher. Well, I'm still, like, talking in my head like they won the tag team championships. They won the tag team championships. They won the tag team championships. But it was against the Vaudevillains. And the Vaudevillains aren't good champions. I was happy to see someone other than Blake and Murphy win the titles, but I wasn't thrilled that the Vaudevillains were the one to do it. I am very mad that they haven't gave Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore a fair shot and have a long-term title rivalry against said champions, whoever they may be. Because I care about Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore because they are two of my favorite tag teams. Wrestlers as individuals, probably Colin Cassidy more. But as a tag team, funny as hell. Not with Carmella, though. Carmella bores me. As a singles wrestler, she doesn't, but when she's with them, it gets boring because Enzo adds on to Carmella because what he says. Because when he says his spiel, it just, I'd rather have the whole Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. No Carmella. No. What I did want to talk about that I didn't put on here, which is funny as hell, because this guy, if I can bring up the website real quick for you, Billy Gunn Billy Gunn. According to the Wrestling Observer, WWE development coach Billy Gunn, and stating his real name, has been fired by the WWE. Now, for the people that haven't heard this yet, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to guess why. Starting now. Alright. Failing a test for performance-enhancing drugs. I did not see that coming. Well, technically I did, because if you saw him during Tough Enough, it would explain why. If that means anything, the way, I know you're supposed to be tough on the Tough Enough contestants, but I feel like Billy Gunn was just overstepping his limits. And that just because I'm trying to put myself in the Tough Enough contestant's shoes, having to hear from Billy Gunn. And Billy Gunn has some funny moments during Tough Enough, like he lightens up a little bit. But I knew there was something off about Billy during that whole thing. And now we get to see it with flying colors. Performance-enhancing drugs. Now, I don't know this whole testosterone, epitestosterone ratio bullshit, but it also states that his drug test at the competition came up. Oh, he was at a powerlifting competition, and that's where it got figured out. But he was probably taking them before, like I said, with Tough Enough. His drug test at the competition came up to a 37-1 testosterone, epitestosterone, whatever, English ratio, above the 4-1 limit, and he was suspended from powerlifting for 4 years. They do not fuck around. And there's going to be more information about this, of course, because this is probably the hottest news of the week, I would say. Except for Kalisto beating Ryback, which I still can't believe. It also says that 52-year-old Billy Gunn has been working as a trainer and performance center in Orlando. He's been on a network breaking ground program in addition to blah 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 blah, this sketch blah blah blah, and then more random bullshit. Now, if there's no more news as I'm looking through this right now, nope. Oh, here's what I thought was funny. We all know that Seth Rollins is injured, and out of anything in the world, or anybody in the world, would help cheer him up, the famous porn industry Brazzers messaged Rollins, and this is what they say, Michael Cole moment, and I quote, "Get well soon at WWE Rollins. If you need some porn to help cope with the downtime, we will gladly hook you up." With 270 retweets and 235 likes. That is the best thing I have seen all week. Besides Kalisto. That is the funniest shit I have seen. Now, before I end the show, I just want to, again, check if there's any more news I want to spew upon the listeners of this podcast. No, that's about it. I want to thank you for listening in today. Tuesday will be a show, and next Friday will be a show. On Saturday, the 21st, there will be a special for predictions for Survivor Series. My special guest will be Roman Apples if he comes back to me with an answer, if he wants to do it or not. He sounded interested on Tuesday. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.